Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids of the Week video. I thought I would mix one of these in while I'm continuing to wrap up your Urban Legends suggestions video. I'm probably going to do just maybe one or two more of those soon, so please be on the lookout for those. They will be coming soon. This random page entry has to do with a monster that apparently roams a certain area there in India. And looking at the information related to it, it seems like it could be yet another long lost dinosaur. So very interesting pick when it came to this random page. Unfortunately, there's not too much info to provide on it. That's how scarce this monster is with regards to its appearances. So this might be a short video, but it has to do with this. You're looking at it now. It's known as the Vadakilla Monster. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the brief, but still interesting information associated with this monster. And then I'll give my own reason as to why maybe this thing has had some more reported sightings within that location. So what is this Vadakilla Monster? Well, it's a monster that's located there in India. You have to go to a specific spot known as the Maharashtra, the district of it, and then more specifically go to a very small village known as the Karjul Harishwan, or Harishar. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Karjul Harishwar. This is a tiny, tiny village. Looking at the information, in fact, here you'll see where it's located on maps. It's something that is pretty far away from other villages, and it has a population of only about 1,000 people or so. I kind of, at first I thought, with 1,000 people, how many people can truly get a good sighting of this creature? But then it made me realize this smaller population has a much better chance of seeing this cryptid instead of, let's say, somebody that happens to be in a city full of millions of people, where the information can be sparse, it could be scattered at the same time. Here, though, the information will be very concentrated. So if one person sees it, it's more likely that others would see it as well because of the very tiny population. So that kind of gives more credence to the idea that this monster is there. As far as what it looks like, it's kind of hard to tell. There really isn't much associated with images or any other photographs, let alone any kind of video. This is pretty much the only picture that you'll see of it. There may be one more as well here too, but it's a creature, something that's considered more of like a sauropod. That's what I was mentioning earlier, where this could be something else like a long lost dinosaur. Whatever kind of encounters the people there in that location had, it seemed to not be a good one too, because of at least the depiction that you'll see here. But the way that people have found its area is apparently it leaves green hair around its location. Who knows, like, when it comes to why it has that specific green hair. I mean, you see drawings nowadays of dinosaurs that are now being depicted as having this full set of fur on them, many different colors as well. So it would not throw out the possibility of having something like this Vadakilla monster having green hair as well. It just happens to fall off, and that is a telltale sign of its location. Another thing too happens to be footprints. So this one adds more credence too. We all have seen, I have as well, nice little footprints found from millions of years ago, found in museums or other places that of course indicate that it's a dinosaur. There's really no other footprints that large that would indicate as such. Here you have something that's living to this day around that area, and it happens to leave its footprints too. So anytime someone finds it there, then they know that they have this Vadakilla monster nearby. But as far as other characteristics, that's it. There's not really much info, like I was mentioning earlier. With regards to that, it does have the name monster too, and clearly you've seen the picture where it seems to be attacking somebody. So it seems like this is a creature that is probably either fiercely protective of its environment, it's defending itself, or who knows, maybe it is something that is ravaging the location and trying to kill people for food or something along those lines. But it definitely has its sightings there. One interesting thing to note as well within that location. There's also many known ghost sightings too within that area. So again, population of about 1,000 people or so. Not only do they have in this case a dinosaur, what all indications point to it being a dinosaur roaming that area, but they also have in this case ghost sightings. I don't know if the two are really connected to each other per se, but at least that's another interesting point to showcase here. Now, as to why I think this dinosaur is out there, it may have been forced to come out into the open, and it has to do with this. There's a dam that was constructed on a nearby river there back in the early 80s. Huge dam, in fact. This is something that is probably about 500 meters or so across, and it's very, very tall as well. So this is something that was constructed as a form of irrigation to try to start some form, in other words, of irrigation. It kind of explains why that area, that location there, that Karjul Harishwar, is known for having a very rich, lush set of sceneries. Like if you go there, you can see forests that have very, very distinct colors to them, like in terms of the greenery, and then they also have very thick foliage around other places as well. And it has, I think the two of them are linked together. And then also, because of that dam being built, you know how anytime a dam is built anywhere, here in the U.S. or any other parts of the world, it disrupts wildlife, because naturally when you have rivers being created by themselves, by nature, wildlife will surround that area. You always will have wildlife around the water. But in this case, when suddenly you destroy, let's say, a river, and you do so by building a dam that plugs up all the rivers, everything else nearby, then the wildlife has to adapt. So my thought is that here you have something like in terms of this Vadakilla monster, maybe living in somewhere and around that area, around that thick foliage, and then all of a sudden, when this dam was built in the 80s, it definitely had to adapt. Even a sauropod, even a dinosaur-like monster, would have to adapt and have to do something to stay nearby water. So maybe that's why people are seeing more of it there, because it just happens to be just something that came into play whenever it had that dam built around it. No fault of its own. It's just simply something that it had to do at that point. But that's pretty much it. No much other info associated with this creature. I didn't expect much too, considering again how remote location this village is, and then also the fact that you have already a creature that seems to be pretty, in this case, scarce. Like it definitely hides itself very, very well. But if anybody has any more info, anything else I might have missed, please post those comments below. The Vadakilla Monster, what do you guys think? Is this a long lost dinosaur, yet another cryptid misinterpreted as such, or is it its own unique creature? Is it something that truly is out there in this world, whether it's a cryptid or a monster, one of a kind, that just happens to be within that area in India? Please post those comments. It'd be great to hear those entries for everyone. If it's a long shot, but if anybody has been in that area too and happens to know more info, then please post those as well. So, all right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.